So since launch is the next big things that we want to do, I will try to be short and sweet so we can go to lunch. I will talk about my experience as a remote worker. I do this since 9 years nowadays, so I have a lot of experience on it. I'm a home worker, so I work from home. But my company is international, so yeah, you will know more about this. Since we have products that are consumer type, we also have stickers there. So if you would like to have some stickers to put in your laptop, it's here, feel free. But in general, we are a wide company, so we have products that are not actually user-facing. But that's another story. So let me just start with the talk. Big disclaimer, just to start. This is my own experience. Even though it's shared between my colleagues, I shared this with my colleague before doing the talk, so I have also integrated feedback from them. It's still something very personal, that meaning something that works for me or for my colleague doesn't work for you for sure. But if you want to give it a try, it's for sure some starting point for you to go through and become, in case you are a remote worker, actually an effective one. Okay, this is the kind of the agenda. A brief introduction about me, so you know me a bit more and you have to understand why I am giving you this feedback. The company I work for, how we work specifically, so you give a chance to know in case you, I'm not sure, but probably no one of you or most no one work remotely for a company. Some of you work for a remote company. You? Okay, nice. But that's it. Okay, so you probably don't have any idea about how remote working works and how we manage the usual stuff that every company has to deal with. And after that, of course, the lesson we learned in these years of making this kind of setup for ourselves. My name is Alessandro. I'm a lead engineer at Voxnest, is the company name. And my focus is on mobile applications, specifically the one on the brand, under the brand Spreaker. There is a podcasting platform. The one of you know about Spreaker? Nice. Okay. Any one of you talks about podcast? Do you know what I'm talking about? Kind of, okay. So we are, Spreaker is one of the products under the podcast hosting platform, but also content creation and other stuff like this. So I work with a mobile application and desktop one. I started in 2010 as an iOS engineer and on the iOS, and year after year I started gaining learning new skills, and such. So now I'm managing 8 different applications that with different targets in terms of users, but also in terms of platforms. So listening application, content creation, and iOS, Android, and since I talk about desktop, we also have a Windows and macOS application for content creators. And in basically almost all my life, I work as a remote worker from home. I have some experience in working in office, so I also try that, the boring way of doing the work. But in general, we started with the beginning as a remote company, and we're still doing it even today, now that we are way more people, and we do much more compared to before. This is my office. This is just a spare room that I have with a minimal setup, so the laptop, an external monitor, my chairs. And it's a mess because it's the way I work. So I'm not going to clean up my desk just to make a picture that is unreal. This is not how we work. This is how I work. Since I'm a mobile developer, I have devices scattered around the desk all the time. But this is the way. This is my office. So I want to say enjoy it because there's nothing to enjoy in here. Now, aside from me, the company I work for is, way less known. Voxnest is an audio technology company. We build software, of course, for the podcasting industry. Because of this, we have different products that we work on. This is the name of those brands. The most one, again, is Spreaker, probably the most known. But we have also Blog Talk Radio that is kind of the same thing, just focusing on live episodes, and another solution for monetizing content, for creating content, a lot of different things. That's not just for user consumer, but also enterprise customers. So we deal all of this in separate team, of course, but everything goes under the same Voxnest, say, umbrella, if you prefer. Just so you know, maybe you don't know, Spreaker, for example, is used by Wired Italy and Sky News. they use us as a hosting platform for their podcast. So if you go to the website and find podcasts, you're probably listening through Spreaker. So we're kind of enough known, especially in Europe, but we also in US. And we are a team of 45 people. We are growing year after year, so it's something that is still, we haven't stopped. We're growing in terms of money, also we need in terms of product, so we need to grow in terms of team. We are spread between US and Europe. Our main, area in US is around New York, but for the Europe, inside we are well spread between Portuguese, Spain, Germany, Italy, obviously, since I'm here. Czech Republic, Estonia, Lithuania, so we are basically all over the place in Europe. And we are all remote workers, so there's no real office where someone will go through to do work. We have some people that gather around co-worker. In Bologna we have one, and another one in New York City. But generally speaking, we are all on the same page. There's no central office, so you don't go to the work by actually leaving the house if you don't want to. One important note is that we are 100% remote. So again, there's no office where you should go to for doing the work. And this is a choice we made when there was just Spreaker 9 years ago, and then when the Voxnest brand came in, just continued this. And this is a way of working that is different between, okay, you have an office, but you can work also from home if you want to, because that means that a lot of choices we take and we are expecting today is a bit pricey in some terms, but it's what allows every one of us to be joining the calls, so being able to do questions to for the CEO when there's new direction to take. Everything is well shared, everything is digital, of course, and we tend to be a more asynchronous communication instead of doing calls over calls. Just because 5 different time zones is something that you need to consider when you want to talk with a lot of people, and so these are the challenges that we decided to take because we want to be able to hire the best people no matter where they actually live in, and allow us to scale the team in whatever direction we want to go. The tool we use, since we work online, basically we have, of course, digital product. Slack is the main one that we use to communicate. Everything is written there, so every problem that we have on the platform, every work that we need to do, every file that happens, every planning that we want to do, everything is scheduled on Slack, and then so that everyone can actually see and be notified about this. Of course, we also do calls because it's an important task. Generally, we use Google Meet or Zoom to do group calls because it's much more reliable than Slack calls in terms of basically performance, because you basically drain your battery Slack in a bad way, and Meet and Zoom is a bit more flexible when the number of people also grow, so it's a better solution for us. All the document we create from administration to any kind of internal documentation is on Google Documents, so this is our go-to solution for that. And for managing our planning and workflow, what we do every single week, we use Trello in a common fashion, so this is the tools, the main tools that we use. Then everyone can use your own tool, but generally this is what we all share between all the teams and the people we work for. Aside from that, we have also rituals. We have our moments when we gather all together, more or less. The main one is the All Hands meeting. It's a call that we do every Friday. Is that everyone will join in from their computer, and so we can talk about the progress of the week, issue that we have, something that is worth sharing across everybody, so that everybody, in case of feedback, can also provide them. And this is our fixed schedule, so it's the only one that actually is always in the same day, always at the same time, so that everybody knows, and everything else is scheduled around that. But we also don't do group calls. We have some moments, since we are remote, some moments where we try to know each other. And it's important, especially for new people that jump on board, to actually have the opportunity to talk with someone that is not the usual colleagues that you work for. And so we define this called donuts. Basically, it's a one-to-one call that is a bot, actually, in Slack, that's set up to random people from the company and put them together so they can have half an hour of chatting, of talking to each other to know the other better, or know that, actually, because there's no absolute that we know everybody in the company. So this is a way for making less stressful the onboarding. Also know what you are working on, what's your actually. If you don't work, we work closely. We have just a few people of them. You don't work with 45 people at the same time, so that having the possibility to talk with administration, for example, that you don't usually talk to, it's a way to understand how they work. If maybe they are maybe something they work to share, is an important moment for us. And of course, since it's important to also have some moment all together, but also in real life, we schedule one retreat once a year where we are all in the same place, under the same roof, and try to work, but most of the time is just having fun all together and create a bonding team on that moment. These are some of the pictures from the last retreat. We were in Gran Canaria Island. Not bad, actually. It was in March, back this year. For these 5 days, we work a lot of discussion topics. We eat a lot, actually, and we also have a lot of fun, probably too much in some cases, because someone then some days was not feeling well after that, but that's another story. This is the best moment of the year for us. It's the only way we have to actually meet someone that we just see them, we just talk to them via Slack, etc. It's not the same as talking to each other, being able to shake your hand for a real person. And so we make these 5 days as special as possible, because it's the moment in which the team actually form and bond way beyond what we can actually achieve by using one-to-one call or Slack or anything else. So every occasion we have to meet in person, we do it. For example, we are trying to make something on the so-called the holiday dinner, the Christmas dinner, company-wise, but it's a mess to do worldwide. So we decided that every single group of people that can actually meet each other can do it for Christmas and eat together, have a dinner together. We are planning to having one in December in Bologna, for example, for the north of Italy, but another one is in New York, though I think that they managed to make it through, and we are trying to push for the Portuguese and Spanish guys to actually meet each other and have a dinner together. Again, it's an important that aside from working from home and via Slack, etc., we also have the moment to meet each other in person, because actually it's where you actually make the most progress, you at a human level, let's say. So it's important that we take the opportunity to do it every time we can. Since I say that we are growing, it's basically because we are hiring and we need to fill a position. We have plenty of products that need more development in the future. So in case you are interested in this sort of way of working, the website is there. There's the open position that we have today, but in case it doesn't fit your desire or wherever you want to work for, feel free to contact us in case you have another idea that will be beneficial for us. We are really open to hear whatever you have to offer, because at the end of the day, we want to hire the best talented people we have. It doesn't matter where they live. So we always have ears open to meet people and to bring new people on board and make all the products and the company scale up as much as possible. That being said, let's go through the lesson we learned. Again, this is my take on what is the most important one for me, because of how I work, because the people that I saw working with me and then give up for some reason, those things might be beneficial, so that you don't have to do this. You don't have to be starting all excited about this remote working, but then after some time you find difficulties in keep up, you're difficult in your life, your normal or not working life, because of the way we work remotely. So those are lessons that makes everybody more effective as a remote worker, but also keep your mental health in absolute importance, because it's what you actually provide. The way you work for the company is by putting your head and your idea on the table, and if you're not able to do so for any kind of reason, you are basically ruin your life at some point. It will be a difficult time, and we don't want to push you that forward, because it's is not good for anybody, for you and for the company itself. So these are the lessons that I learned that helped me avoid all this issue, and also some of our colleagues as well. Obviously, if you had the choice to pick your own workplace, do it wisely. Find your perfect spot, wherever it is. It's your own worker, your room at home, so you can work from there. If you prefer to be in a co-working space, go for it. There's no problem on our side. It's important that that place has everything that you need to work properly, but also have all the requirements you want to add on top. For example, in my case, I work from home mostly because it's very quiet compared to a co-working space. And I try to be to lose the focus when I hear someone voice talking about something, because I'm trying to be probably too curious to hear what they are saying. So the fact that I'm working from home allows me to be very focused on the task that I'm doing. And so it's much better for me. I'm much more productive at home compared to a co-working space. Also because I can work in pajamas, but I strongly suggest you to not do that. But it's also an option. And also my time to commute is kind of that 30 seconds that it takes to go from one room to the other, so to one room to the other. So that is great for me. So I can wake up at 8:30 by 9 p.m. By 9 a.m. I'll be there with no problem. Another important point is that working from home sometimes don't have is that you can close the door when you complete the work. So if you are working from, let's say, your living room, you always have your laptop there. You're trying to, you keep your focus there because now it's where you spent 8 hours before. So it's hard to say, okay, let's stop, that's enough. I can go on with the rest of my life. In my case, having a spare room allowed me to say, okay, that is done for today. Doesn't matter what time it is. I can close the door and my work stay there. So I'm separating my work life by my personal life physically. And this is something that is obvious if you work for a company, you have an office somewhere, because you have to leave the office, go home somewhere, so that is totally free for you. But if you work from home, that does not come cheap. So if you can find a way to make it so you can close your laptop, you can close the office, so that you don't have to come in until the day after, even with your thoughts. And when you spend all the time in making your office perfect, well, try something different. You have more options to work for a co-working space if you work from home usually, but you can also, we do have possibility for people to basically move around if they want to. So if the next month they want to work from Germany because they are tired of Italy, for any kind of reason that I don't know, they can do that. And they can still work. They have to find another place and start working from there, as easy as it sounds. And that's also a way for them to understand if their usual office is good enough or is lacking of something, so they can improve. We can improve it on every iteration. We have a colleague now that he asked for us to travel in Thailand. It was not expected to be that, but he is there, and he's working. He's working with us, even though it's a month that he's there. Time-wise, it's complicated because of time zone, but we found a way to make it work. And it's a way for him to explore Thailand, of course, but also for us to keep working. And he's keep working, so everything works fine for us. This is an option that you usually don't have. You have to take 2, 3, 4 weeks of holiday in case they give to you, but we allow that at some extent. So we found a compromise and we make it work. Also, if you have the time to go from some friend offices or other company offices to work from there, it's also a way to do networking. So without going to a conference, it's also a good opportunity to do that. But even working from just another company is a way to explore, to explain you what you work, what you do, and then know other people, having different idea, and do the usual networking stuff is also important. And if you work all the time just on your own, it might be overwhelmed, so take the opportunity to leave the house if you can. Since we use tools all the time, it's better if they are good ones. We do a lot of calls, obviously, because of all the reasons that remote working forces you to do so. So having good iPhone, don't try the cheap ones. You will hate it, you will hurt you, and then you will throw away, then you buy another one, and then you just stress over stress with no good reasons. If you want headphones, pick the best that you can afford. the best you can find. Even for the chair, you cannot afford to have back pain. You work 8 hours a day, it doesn't make any sense. So invest on that. If your keyboard doesn't work, try another one. And so for display, we can work, I can work even on, just on the display of the MacBook, but actually with the standard display, I'm much more productive. And that makes total sense, so I do that. I buy a standard display, and I'm not that guy. But again, this is kind of my setup. And it works for me, it makes me more effective, it makes me less stressful. So everything brings me to be a better developer and a better colleague for the other ones. Good internet connection, that's a tough point, especially in Italy, but it's still a point. You don't have to have a super high-end internet connection, generally speaking. What you actually need is, what's more important, is to have a stable one. The fact that you lose the video when you do a video call is okay, not great, but no, it's okay. The fact that you use the audio, you're not able to actually hear what they are saying, that's a bigger problem. So if you can pick the solution that is more stable to you, even though it's not super high performance, and plan for having a backup plan. Having your phone be trained to your laptop in case you are outside, in case your connection home doesn't work, have the possibility to still join any call or be online is crucial. That's another way of saying it. So it's invest in this for whatever you can. A bit more technical things probably is to schedule meeting. We do a lot of meetings for all the different reasons. It's important that you schedule them smartly so that you are more effective, but also the other one is more effective as well. Schedule your call in advance as much as possible. Don't try to schedule a call in 10 minutes. Nobody will be free in 10 minutes, so don't try to do that. Schedule it in advance. Share your agenda. If you have an agenda, it's better. And if you do, share that as well, so that everybody can be ready for doing the call. And so if you have their question, they'll also be ready for that. It's much more productive having a call set up this way. And at the end of the day, we don't lose time as to having call with random discussion that doesn't go anywhere. So that is a good point. And if you can, or try as much as possible to group calls back to back, so that you have basically, you say your afternoon is full of call, you gotta do 2 or 3 maybe, but the morning is free. So the morning is the time where you don't have any call, you don't have any interruption, you're focused on your work, nobody will tell you anything, and then that is the time where you're more productive. And then the afternoon is, okay, one call after another, you'll be interrupted, you'll be over discussion, that's fine. But overall, you have a good chunk of your time, this is free, just for you, to keep the focus, and don't have context switching between different time, call, then to the work, then back on the call. That doesn't allow you to create a good code, that's for sure. And since you schedule the call, be on time. If you set up a call maybe 2 days ago, you say that at 2 p.m. you have in the call, and then you 2 and 5 minutes, and not everybody show up, you don't know anything about it. That is just a waste of time for everybody, because some people will be on, some people will not, and so you cannot start a discussion since someone is missing, so it doesn't work like this. We work remotely. We cannot poke your shoulder on the same desk, because we are not in the same place. If you say a time, that is the time to be. If you can, for any kind of reason, let us know before. Just say, okay, I cannot join in, I will join later maybe. That's fine. Everybody is busy. But at least everybody knows that you will not be joining anytime soon, or not at the beginning. So you can start a discussion, and then they will join later. Don't rush to respond. There's a lot of time when, especially when using Slack, etc., that someone have a question, they post it on the channel, and expect that someone will reply as soon as possible with the best possible answer in no time. Well, it doesn't work that way. And most of the time, the people that try to have the first response, to have the first reply to that question, is actually a shitty response that doesn't provide actually any value to the question. So then you have the follow-up question, and then you start understanding that you're misunderstanding completely the question originally. So that is just waste. So if you see a question and you know the answer, that's fine, but take your time to respond wisely. Give more context as you can. You can also be verbose and repeat part of the question, so that at least the one that asks something understand that you understand actually the question or not. So, and then at the end of the day, that response will stay there so that if anybody else in the following weeks or months need the same answer, can look for that and have a response that still makes sense. Not just, yeah, sure, we do it. No, that we don't. I don't know. Let me jump on this and this kind of stuff. That is just doesn't provide any value to the communication. So take your time. You don't have to rush. Do a response that actually makes sense. It is more valuable to the overall company. This is especially for me because working from home is a bit, you're trying to be more lazy because now you don't have to go anywhere. Maybe that day you don't have even any calls scheduled, so you take your time. But it's important to remember that working from home is an opportunity, but also a downsides, and this is one of them. You need to keep care of yourself or your health. It doesn't matter the form in which you want to take care of, but do it. Having a routine helps you be more effective, probably. It's not easy, obviously. You want just to be home to start working and that's it. But generally speaking, if you can, do it. Do sport if you can. Do schedule. I started to go to the gym this year before working because I know that the hour 9 hours after I will be on the chair working. So my back probably will kill me in 1 year or two. So that is a choice that I made. I forcibly start even late in the morning, so I started at 10:30, for example, in that days. But this is something that I'm okay with, and the company is okay with, so that I keep care of myself, so I could still be working a year from now with everything as healthy as possible. And that is it's good for everybody, especially for you, obviously, but also for the company itself. So do it. Don't skip this. Take a break. Especially for developers, when you are, say, in the zone, you're trying to forget the time passed. So it's been 4 hours you're developing, and nobody will interrupt you for anything. So there's no code, no everything. So it's pretty fine. But then you spend 4 hours fully immersed in that. That is not super good. If you try, take a break. Usually in the office, you have some colleague ask you for a coffee, and just to relax a bit and discuss other things. Do it anyway, even though if you are just alone, so you can pick up a dog in my case and go for a walk. But in general, any kind of interruption that is scheduled and is fixed inside your day helps your mind relax a bit. So when you're back, you are fully recharged. Well, not fully, but enough recharged to go to tackle the problem again, wherever it is. And it's in general much better than just go straight and you ended up at 6 p.m. completely destroyed because you don't have any break, you don't have anything like that. That's not good. That makes the difference. I know it sounds silly sometimes, having a break, this kind of thing, having the core 101 to talk about no work stuff. But at the end of the day, is what makes you human, and so what makes you keep doing this for as much as possible. Because if you cannot fully work, if your mind doesn't follow your thoughts, you're not able to actually concentrate on your work. You're not able to work. And if you don't work, you're just hurting yourself in a way or another. So try to take a break. I mean, it doesn't have to be 3 hours working with a dog, obviously. In my case, I will die probably. But 15 minutes, half an hour, even down if it's raining, do it. It's much easier. You take some time off, and then you start over. Last but not least for us, if your company ever retreats, probably they should. In case, enjoy that as much as possible. These are, as I said at the beginning, the most intense event of the year, at least for us. This is where the team actually built. The fact that we in a morning of trekking in Gran Canaria Island, suffering most of the time, because the sun was shining so hard. But that's what makes us a team. We were there suffering all together. We were discussing, supporting each other, even small talks during that. And then ended up on the beach, go about together in the ocean. That is a lot of fun, obviously, but also a way to invest in your team because you're now bonding one another. And then when you are back from that, your communication is much more effective because you know better the person that are on the other side of the keyboard. And everything works much, much better after this. And so take the opportunity to retreat make it the best possible way. We have a couple of us that was able to stay up until 2, 3 a.m. every single night on that period, on that days, just do karaoke all together and drinking, obviously. But that makes them actually more effective, more cohesive than we are with the other ones. So again, this make you a stronger team. So do it is a lot of fun, but it's also an investment on your team itself. So this is why we do it, and this is something that we really prepare in advance and also make them the best possible for the whole team. And that's it. Thank you for listening.